And just like the relationships we have today, there is need for us to put in those efforts to see that we make them, better. We make sure they are growing. We are both growing as the people involved in this relationship. All right. And the Apostle Peter knew the kind of desire, to develop a personal relationship with Jesus. Just like us, we desire to grow in knowing Him. We want to understand who is Jesus. What does He even want us to do? Okay. And the solution is what we're going to be finding in the very first chapter of his book, the second letter of Peter. And as we're going to be reading this, we need to understand that it's a step by step, a kind of path. And that is why it is titled The Path. And I use that analogy that just like the path is, if your goal is to move from point A to point B, you're not going to jump with both feet and jump from here with both feet and get here. No. The same way someone is walking, the same way you are walking along a path, and decide to move, let me say, with your left foot first, followed by the right foot, left foot, right, and eventually you will get here. That is the same way it is. And as we're going to be reading this verse from 2 Peter, it's going to be showing that it's actually, we are adding. From the very first step, you're supposed to add the second step, add the next step, until the final step, which is the 8th step. But let me also put this to you. These steps are not, do not consider this like it's going to be an 8 steps path, and once you get to number 8, you're done. No. This keeps on continuing in our lives as Christians. Well, for the first 2 steps, you do this once and for all. And for the last 6, these are going to be happening concurrently in our lives as we live. You might realize you're improving in one step and lacking in the other. You make it better, you go to this step, and so on and so forth. So, before we even dive into that, I want us to understand there is a verse. The verse we are reading from is 2 Peter chapter 1, from verses 5 to 7. But before we get to that, verses 5, I need us to understand the first few verses. That is 2 Peter chapter 1, from verses 2 to 3. This is what it says. May grace and peace be lavished on you as you grow in the rich knowledge of God and of Jesus our Lord. I can pray this because His divine power has bestowed on us everything necessary for life and godliness through the rich knowledge of the one who called us by His own glory and excellence. I'll read that again. May grace and peace be lavished on you as you grow in the rich knowledge of God and of Jesus our Lord. I can pray this because His divine power has bestowed on us everything necessary for life and godliness through the rich knowledge of the one who called us by His own glory and excellence. This is just like the opening statement now. The person that writes this, the person that came up with these steps, that brought about these steps, is trying to, assure us, may grace and peace be lavished upon us as we grow. Growing is continual. It doesn't stop. You can't point to nobody and say, they've gotten to the age of 20 and they've stopped. Never. In fact, scientifically, it's called stunted growth. Someone like, the age is increasing, but their physical appearance isn't going anywhere. And as Christians, we don't need to get there. We have to keep on growing. We keep on growing. All right? It's like in the rich knowledge of God. We are not just growing physically. We are growing in the rich knowledge of God. Not just knowledge, oh, I know God. No. It's a rich knowledge. It's more. It's abundancy. Okay? And of Jesus our Lord. I can pray this because His divine power has bestowed on us everything necessary for life. His divine power has availed for us. He has given us everything necessary for life and godliness. We have everything necessary for the life that we are living today. Okay? And for godliness, to be like Him. Through the rich knowledge of the one who called us by His own glory and excellence. And all that kind of knowledge and the rich knowledge and everything is going to be gotten as we read the verses that come after this. So, let's continue. Okay. Like I've already said, a few things about the path. You take one step at a time, and this calls for patience. That means you're not going to start the path today and tomorrow you wake up saying, oh, I've made it to the 8th step. No. These are going to be practical things. You're going to have to master them over time. And just like students in class, someone gets it right from the board. Another person has to understand it after reading. Another person has to, understand after reading even more extensively. None of them is dumb. None of them is more brighter than the other. We just understand at different levels. And so the same way it is with a Christian life. Someone is going to be at step number 4 when someone else is still mastering step number 2. God isn't saying this one is more important to me than the other. No. You just keep on working on yourself. We're not the same, but we're walking the same path here. Okay? And then you don't take 2 steps and get there, but on keeping. You keep on walking. And then the other thing is stay on the path. Just like someone who's walking and going to some place, you're headed to, some other direction. There is always going to be, apparent, shortcuts. There's going to be temptations. There's going to be desires and whispers for you to, wander off the path. Why can't you do it this way? Do this instead. Choose this option. But I need to tell you that you need to stay on this path, my dear friend. It's only and only when you choose to stay on that path and stick to it that you're going to make it finally. And then focus on the destination. Do not gaze at what's beside the path. Like someone who's traveling along a busy road. You're in a taxi, you're on a border, you're in your personal car maybe, and outside there people are shouting. Someone is playing music, another one is, watching a movie, someone else is singing, they're selling something like in the marketplaces. You're going to be smelling a lot of things that might have, you wander off and say, oh, maybe let me first go around and buy. Do not do that as we take this path, my dear friend. Purpose to do this and pursue this in your life. Do not be distracted. And then finally, you need to make an all-in commitment. Be fully committed to the path. And to help us understand what all-in commitment is all about here, just like a relationship, I'll use the relationship analogy many a time here. If you are dating, you're dating this, lady, nice-looking lady, I should say. If you say you're going to be in a relationship, but then you're only giving her 50% of your, time and everything, resources, that means you have a 50% to give somewhere else. If you choose to love this person, if you want a relationship to work out between 2 people, then all these people have to be giving it their whole 100%. If you decide to walk this path, be fully committed to it. Be all in. Do not choose to, let me try God's way as I try what the world is telling me or giving me as an option. Do not do that, my dear friend. All in dedication until you get to a point where everything is working out right. Okay, so according to 2 Peter chapter 1 from verses 5 to 7, these are 8 detailed steps towards spiritual growth. And like I said, the same way I showed us the steps, each step supports, the step before and the step next. It's not like every step is independent on its own, no. Otherwise, we would be just jumping with one leg as we're going somewhere, but we walk with both legs. This leg walks, the other one follows, and eventually you're moving a mile, steadily. It's not one leg jumping, no. They support each other. The same is going to be happening with our 8 steps in this verse, all right? Okay, so it says, make every effort to add to your faith excellence, to excellence, knowledge, to knowledge, self-control, to self-control, perseverance, to perseverance, godliness, to godliness, brotherly affection, to brotherly affection, unselfish love. I'm going to read that again for us. 2 Peter chapter 1, from verses 5 to 7, it says, make every effort to add to your faith excellence, to excellence add knowledge, to knowledge add self-control, to self-control add perseverance, to perseverance add godliness, to godliness brotherly affection, to brotherly affection unselfish love. Those are the 8 steps. We have faith, excellence, knowledge, self-control, perseverance, godliness, brotherly affection, and unselfish love. So, Let's try to understand what does each of these steps really, involve. What about these faith, excellence, self control, excellence and everything? What are they about? Let's continue.